India has just cracked open one of the most secretive doors of the Indian state, its nuclear sector. With the SHANTI Bill, New Delhi has rewritten a 60-year-old rulebook, ending monopoly, inviting private participation, and signaling nuclear confidence to the world. But even before the ink could dry, there was outrage, not in Vienna, not in Washington, but in Islamabad. A country drowning in debt, harboring world's most wanted terrorists, and burdened by one of the darkest nuclear proliferation scandals in history, is suddenly concerned about India's nuclear safety. So, as India reforms its atomic future, we ask why Pakistan, of all countries, is trying to sound the alarm. And more importantly, whose nuclear program should the world really be worried about? Hello and welcome. You're watching Statecraft with me, Geeta Mohan. India has taken a monumental step in its energy and strategic policy, a reform decades in the making, by passing the SHANTI Bill, a law that will transform the nation's nuclear power landscape. This is not a minor policy tweak. It is a dramatic rewrite of India's atomic energy framework, opening one of the most sensitive sectors of the state to private enterprise for the first time in over 60 years. On the 15th of December, the Sustainable Harnessing and Advancement of Nuclear Energy for Transforming India Bill, or SHANTI Bill 2025, was tabled in the Lok Sabha. If fully enacted by Parliament, it will repeal the Atomic Energy Act 1962 and the Civil Liability for Nuclear Damage Act 2010, laws seen as barriers to investment and innovation in India's nuclear landscape. The government says this is more than policy reform. It is a strategic pivot toward energy security, climate commitments, and a future where India's nuclear potential is harnessed at scale. Nestled within the SHANTI Bill are provisions to allow Indian private firms to build, own, operate, and decommission nuclear power plants, activities once the exclusive preserve of state-run entities like the Nuclear Power Corporation of India. Under SHANTI, private companies incorporated in India can engage in diverse nuclear pursuits, including fuel fabrication, transportation, and storage of spent fuel, and import-export of prescribed nuclear equipment. Foreign-controlled entities, however, will remain barred from holding licenses. Sensitive domains like fuel enrichment, reprocessing, and heavy water production remain firmly under government control. Now, significantly, the bill caps liability for nuclear incidents at 300 million special drawing rights, roughly aligned with international norms, and establishes statutory status for the Atomic Energy Regulatory Board, bolstering oversight and safety. Ministers argue that nuclear energy must scale dramatically if India is to meet its climate goals, including net zero emissions by 2070 and adding 100 gigawatts of nuclear capacity by 2047, up from around 8.2 today. And for that, private innovation and capital are indispensable. But as New Delhi hails this as a transformative moment, Islamabad has responded not with congratulations, but with what it calls concern. Seeking to embarrass India, Pakistan's Foreign Ministry spokesperson Tahir Andrabi claimed the SHANTI Bill could pose challenges to global efforts to prevent access by private individuals to sensitive nuclear material.
Last week, Indian cabinet had approved opening of nuclear insurance sectors of private investment, and you had said that you would give a comment.
We have seen these media reports about there was remarks by the Indian Prime Minister and subsequent news reports. We monitor these developments very carefully. Given India's troubling history of nuclear security lapses, including multiple incidents of radioactive material theft and unlawful sale of radioactive material reported since 1990s, the involvement of private sector in handling of sensitive nuclear material and knowledge could be a matter of concern. This may pose challenge to the global efforts for countering access of private individuals to sensitive nuclear materials, and we hope that enough safeguards would be placed to prevent that eventuality.
This objection is striking not because of its substance, but because of who is raising it. A state whose own record on nuclear security and proliferation has been questioned internationally repeatedly is lecturing India on nuclear safety. The irony will not be lost on strategic watchers. Pakistan's objections come against a backdrop of its own nuclear history, a history marred by scandal, illicit proliferation, and chronic opacity. At the heart of this story is Dr. Abdul Qadir Khan, the metallurgist who helped build Pakistan's bomb and then exported the very technologies that powered nuclear proliferation. In the 1980s and 1990s, Khan didn't just help Pakistan master uranium enrichment. He sold centrifuge designs, components, and know-how across the globe, including to Iran, Libya, and North Korea, enabling their weapons programs. Many investigators have concluded that his network, while presented as rogue, operated with tacit complicity from elements within Pakistan's establishment.
The investigation has established that many of the reported activities did occur and that these were inevitably initiated at my behest. In my interviews with the concerned government officials, I was confronted with the evidence and the findings, and I have voluntarily admitted that much of it is true.
That episode was no small breach of international norms. It was a profound failure of export controls and non-proliferation safeguards, and it directly undermined global efforts to restrict the spread of nuclear weapons technology. The world still deals with the consequences today. By contrast, India's nuclear trajectory has been transparent, structured, and tightly regulated under international safeguards. India earned a waiver from the Nuclear Suppliers Group in 2008 because of its clean, non-proliferation record, civil-military separation of facilities, and adherence to safety protocols, privileges Pakistan has never secured. So when Pakistan says it is monitoring developments carefully, observers hear what it really reveals: not concern about safety, but fear of losing narrative leverage on a neighbor that is now stepping confidently onto the global stage. Pakistan's spokesperson even invoked past Indian incidents of alleged radioactive material, claims repeatedly debunked, and clarifications issued by Indian authorities to justify its anxiety about private nuclear participation. New Delhi dismissed these allegations as unfounded and reaffirmed that Shanti does not relax nuclear safety standards in any way. And let's be clear, nuclear safety remains at the core of the Shanti Bill. The foundational policy of safety first, production next, which has guided India's atomic program for decades, is untouched. Fuel mining limits, spent fuel storage protocols, and strategic material controls are unchanged. Meanwhile, Pakistan's own nuclear governance raises questions that go far beyond a legislative debate in New Delhi. Its nuclear command and control, while formally vested in a national command authority comprising civilian and military officials, exists within a political ecosystem dominated by the military. In recent years, the institution of civilian oversight has weakened even as the army consolidates power. It's no secret that Pakistan's army chief, Field Marshal Asim Munir, also known as the Jihadi General, has become an unrivaled force in Islamabad, overseeing military branches and wielding influence over nuclear policy in ways that would alarm many global strategists. When Munir addressed a gathering in the United States of America and stated Pakistan would take half the world down with us if threatened, it wasn't just rhetoric. It was nuclear brinkmanship that sent shockwaves through diplomatic corridors. India called the remarks nuclear saber rattling, a tactic it says Islamabad has used repeatedly to compensate for geopolitical weaknesses. Critics point out that this pattern of inflated nuclear threats and opaquely controlled arsenals exacerbates regional instability. Unlike India, which maintains a declared no first use policy, Pakistan's doctrine remains deliberately ambiguous, and its strategic posture is built on tactical weapons and battlefield nuclear options rather than far-ranging deterrence. Beyond words, there's evidence of genuine concern among global analysts about the cohesion and reliability of Pakistan's nuclear decision-making, especially when political instability, internal fractures, and competing power centers intersect with the highest stakes imaginable: atomic weapons. And this is what makes Islamabad's current reaction so hollow. Pakistan criticizes India for bringing private firms into nuclear power, a sector that under Shanti remains tightly regulated with robust safeguards, while Pakistan itself has struggled with fundamental questions of nuclear governance, proliferation history, and safety integrity. India's trajectory under Shanti seeks transparency, accountability, and innovation, not secrecy or shielding single institutional interests. The legislation has already attracted interest from major Indian conglomerates like Tata Power, Adani Power, and Reliance Industries, and global partners such as Westinghouse, GE Hitachi, and France's EDF have expressed readiness to collaborate. Taken together, India's move is not just about energy, it's about strategic autonomy, economic transformation, and technological leadership. Pakistan's grumbling, by contrast, is a symptom of deeper anxieties at home and abroad about credibility, control, and command. As the world watches, the Shanti Bill isn't just legislation, it is a signal that India is ready to harness nuclear energy responsibly, attract investment, expand capacity, and redefine its role in the global clean energy and strategic order. And as critics in Islamabad clutch at historical grievances and old rivalries, New Delhi is looking forward, anchored in safeguards, guided by vision and fortified by maturity. So let's be clear about what the world is witnessing. India opens its nuclear sector with laws, liability caps, regulators, and international safeguards, and Pakistan responds with lectures. A country whose bomb was built through smuggling, whose technology was sold to rogue regimes, whose economy survives on begging bowls, and whose nuclear arsenal sits under the shadow of jihadi rhetoric, now claims the moral high ground. If global watchdogs are truly worried about nuclear safety, they might want to look west of India's borders, at a state that lied for decades, proliferated in secret, and still refuses transparency. Because the real danger to the world is not India reforming its nuclear energy sector. The danger is pretending Pakistan's nuclear record deserves to be taken seriously. Thank you for watching Statecraft.